You'll see that this morning's session is entitled Doing It for the Right Reasons. And I want to just really stop to think, because I was thinking about this yesterday when I was going as the strong woman, just going and going and going and going. What was it that really had me thinking that I could just keep going? Like, have you ever stopped in the middle of the life that you live right now, the busyness of it all, and just stopped and asked yourself, like, why am I even doing this? Like, what is this about? Why am I pushing so hard? Why am I giving so much? Why am I carrying so much? Because when I had that sort of the collapse moment, I looked around and I realized I was busy doing a lot of things that, I didn't really need to do. And for the strong woman like us, it's so easy to get caught up in the doing, in leading, providing, fixing, nurturing, all of the things that we tell ourselves because that's what we've always done. I've always done it like that. But really, are we doing it for the right reasons? And when I say that, honestly and humbly, that sometimes we're doing it for the not so good reasons. Sometimes we're doing it for the wrong reasons. And, it's time to really be real because there's some real dangers of doing it for the wrong reasons. Um, and sometimes we pour into things not because we truly want to, but because maybe we feel obliged to. So if I don't do it, who will? Or maybe we crave the validation too. So if I accomplish this, then they're going to respect me. Or maybe we do it because we fear disappointment. If I don't want to let anyone down, I've got to do this. But when we move from a place of people pleasing instead of purpose, that's when exhaustion comes in. That's when, and the worst part of it is this. Even after giving our all, even after doing so much for other people, spinning 100 plates at once, the feeling of empty is still there. The feeling of exhaustion is still there. The feeling of why am I doing this is still there. And then it can move into resentment. I remember one time when I literally collapsed. I literally was so exhausted. I was wiped out. And I asked myself, why am I doing this? Now, let's not get it twisted. These could be things that on paper look good. On paper, it looks good. Think about come on, Holy Spirit. Martha and Mary in Luke. I believe it's Luke 10 somewhere, right? Around the 30s to 40s. And Jesus is there, and you've got on one hand Martha so busy running around doing a bag of things, being busy, serving, doing, preparing. And then you've got Mary just sitting at Jesus's feet, learning and listening. And it's interesting that Martha gets frustrated, like, look, Lord, I'm doing all of this. Like, how come you don't care that I'm the one doing all the work and my sister's doing nothing and she's the one that's, getting the attention. And Jesus responds, Martha, you're worried and upset about so many things, except for the thing that is necessary, except for the thing that you need to be focused on. You're worried about everything else. And Martha's like, can you tell her to work? And Jesus is like, Mary's actually chosen what's better. You're the one that, are so busy doing a bag of things. Now, was Martha wrong for serving and tidying up and doing all of the stuff? But she wasn't wrong, but here's the thing, she was distracted. She was distracted by what can I say, by duty instead of actually being present and in purpose. Have I ever been in a place where I've been distracted by duty instead of being present and purpose? How many of us have been a Martha where we're moving in the zone of fixing things, doing things, but then missing what truly matters? How many times have we been in a position where we're so good at doing our tick list, but the very people that we say we're doing the tick list for are being left out? I mentioned on Saturday about my grandma. She's getting on, 81 years young. And to think that, you know, when the grind was going on, she was ringing and I kept missing her calls. And I hear so many people say, you know, they wish their grandparents were here and they wish they had that relationship. And there's me with a great, like a grandmother that, you know, will pray for me, that will encourage me, that in fact will give me the energy that even motivates me to go off and be more productive. But I'm so busy focused on other things. So another question that I had to ask myself, and I want to ask you the same, is who are you doing it for? Let's do a heart check. Let's look at our hearts and say, well, when I'm pushing myself to do more, when I'm pushing myself to give more and to be more, I have to ask myself some questions. Is it an assignment? Here's one. Oh, Jesus. Is it an assignment or is it an attachment? Mercy of God. Nikki, am I called to do this or am I just holding on? Am I serving God or am I serving approval? Oh, mercy. Does it align with my purpose or am I afraid of just saying no? And I remember I once knew a lady. She was the go-to person for everything, the fixer, the provider, the one who never said no, would answer the phone 4 a.m. to everybody, counsel everyone, be the one on Instagram, look in the park, be the one to do everything, spinning all the plates. On the outside, this woman was so powerful. People were respecting her. They were saying, you know, this woman, my mentor, my big sis. But on the inside, she was really exhausted, struggling to really balance everything, but telling herself that that's how it needed to be. And one day she broke. And when she broke down, she was actually able to admit to herself, I don't even know who I am outside of what I do for people. That woman was me. That woman was a woman that found her worth in serving people. Was it for the right reasons? Did I love people? Do I love people? Yes. But was I doing it from a place of just serving and giving, or was I doing it from a place of I'm nothing if I don't do it for these people? Validation. Feeling that success because I've helped somebody. I want to tell you, because I've been studying this, that our purpose is so much more bigger than other people's expectations or other people's, outcomes. It's so much bigger. And how I had to turn my mind is I had to shift it from a place of obligation into a place of purpose. When I'm doing things, I must be doing them for the right reasons. So I had to move from obligation to almost fulfillment. So am I obligated to do this, or is this an assignment that I am, I'm assigned to do this thing and there's going to be fulfillment at the end? Move from burnout, where I'm doing the most, where I'm spinning, into balance. And that's one of the biggest questions I get all the time. How do I balance everything, Nikki? How do I balance family? How do I balance work? How do I balance entrepreneurship? How do I balance everything? And in order to balance, there's got to be systems. In order to balance, there's got to be time planning. In order to balance, there's got to be prioritization. And then moving from validation and seeking other people's approval to purpose-driven. One of the biggest things I found so hard to live in my purpose was what other people would think. Oh my gosh, I'm not like them. I don't look like them. I definitely don't preach like them. I don't speak like them. My purpose isn't like them. I've got a testimony that isn't like them. I'm going from sex addiction. I'm going from rape. I'm going from having a bag of man. I'm going from the clubs. I'm going from alcoholism. I'm going from, and on the juxtaposition side, big bank manager, success, and all that. Like, it was crazy how everything I did was for other people. You see, even the fact of getting these £1 million property portfolio by the age of 21, it really wasn't because I wanted to do it. It was because I wanted to prove that those that robbed me and those that stabbed my ex-husband couldn't win. Have you ever done something just to prove people wrong? And I even had to flip that around and say, listen, Nikki, when you're doing things, do it because of purpose. Not because you want to prove people wrong, not because even you want to prove that the ones that believed in you are right. Do it because it's your purpose. Do it because it's your mission. Well, Nikki, how do I figure out my purpose? How do I figure out what it is that I'm supposed to be doing? Because sometimes it's confusing. And my answer to that is you've got to seek God first. All will be added afterwards. You've got to be around people that can see your gifts, that can pull it out of you. One of the biggest issues I had is that I'm so, multi-gifted. I was saying to one of my friends that, I bought some waist trainers. And I bought some waist trainers just because when you order from them Chinese sites, you know how it is, you don't know the sizes. So I bought like a bunch of them. And before I knew it, one of them fit. And then I had a waist trainer business. And then I made a couple grand off waist trainers. It comes so naturally to me. It didn't even, it was water off a duck's back. And I was tidying up the other day, and guess what popped out? A few waist trainers, and I laughed because that isn't my purpose. Waist trainers isn't my purpose, right? It was a little distraction for a couple weeks because I know how to hustle. I know how to turn my hands to stuff. I've always said, like, if I needed extra money, I'll never be broke because I know how to create, I know how to move and shift. But is selling waist trainers the best purpose for my life? Is selling waist trainers where God really wants me to be? No, it's not. And I had to realize that just because I'm gifted in it, just because I have a talent to do it, doesn't mean that's what I should be doing. In fact, in Colossians 3, it says, I think it's 23 or 24, it says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for men. So when we do things, we spoke yesterday about the scripture in Matthew where Jesus saw the crowd and he moved away from the crowd. We do things not because we need applause. I now don't do things because I need a pat on the back, or I need a celebration, or I need a promotion, or I need people to put my name on a flyer, or I need people to tell me that I'm doing well. I don't do things for other people's approval no more, for the limelight, for everyone to celebrate me. I do it because of purpose, because I don't need permission when I move in purpose. When I move in purpose, I don't feel heavy. I don't feel frustrated. I have absolute clarity because I know I'm moving in the way that God wants me to move. I have to, first of all, though, release what it is that's not mine to carry. Sometimes we carry things and it looks right, just like Martha washing up, doing all this. How many of us have done things that look right on paper, but you have to say, do you know what? That's not my ministry. I'm actually not going to do that today. I'm not going to do that today. Right? And I'll give you a clear example. Some of you know that my stepdad has had a stroke and we're full-time caring for him. Right? And the right thing to do, is to make sure that he's got care. But what I was doing before was I was driving to London every day. I was driving to the hospital every day, me one. And I had to say to my brother, I said, listen, we're gonna have to sort something out because it's dangerous. I was driving back on the motorway one day and I fell asleep on the motorway. I may not even have been there. I could have been wiped out. Doing the right thing and mashing up myself in the process. Make it make sense. Who was I doing it for? So people wouldn't say, my stepdad raised me and then I've neglected him in the final hour. I've still got to look after myself. I'm a mother. I've got children. I've got a purpose. I've got people that God wants me to serve. And so, yes, I want to help, but I've got to also balance this thing. So we've got to release what's not ours to carry. I had to admit and say, listen, we need a support system. We need a regime because I cannot carry on like this. I'm going to kill myself if I carry on like this. Not by suicide, just by neglect. I got to serve from a place of purpose, not pressure, especially when you're caring for somebody. The pressure is real. I don't want to let him down. I don't want to let him down. He raised me. He raised me, so I don't want to let him down, but I've got to move from purpose. I've got to move from doing it for God, not for approval. Doing it for the right reasons, doing it safely. Some of us are burning out because we're doing things, and I tell you, it only ends one way. You cannot, it's not sustainable to do certain things. It's not. But here's the good news. And I want you to know the good news. The good news is you don't have to do it alone. The good news is that we have a community here. The good news is that we have systems and strategies to help us to navigate, systems and strategies to help us to be able to put in place so that we can spin those plates, so that we can do what needs to be done. The good news is we can also prioritize our own development, prioritize our own rest, prioritize our own self-health, prioritize our mindset, prioritize. The very fact that you're on here now tells me that you are prioritizing your mindset. But how long will it last? How long will you commit to serving you the same way you serve everybody else, strong woman? How long will you commit to looking after yourself? How long will you invest the time to pour into yourself? How long will you invest the energy to pour into yourself? How long will you invest the money to pour into yourself? How long will you invest in you? Because it's time to reset. It's not same old, same old. It's not same old, same old. I'm so excited about what God is revealing in this season. You know, Revelations 3:17, we spoke about it yesterday, where, you know, God says, you say you're rich, and that's because you got money, you got fame, couple likes on Instagram, cute pictures. But I say you're poor, broken, and naked. Can you imagine? Can you imagine we're that up in our routines and that up in ourself that we think we're doing an absolute great job? And he's like, no, you're not. You're like Martha, you're so busy doing the most. But I want to challenge you today to search your heart to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. I want to also offer you to join our community. It's a space where the strong woman hangs out. But what we're doing in this season is something radical. It's a space where you're going to get support, wisdom, sisterhood, where you're going to get one-on-one time with me, one a quarter. You're also going to be able to really hone in on your balance. I want to look and work with you to set out a strategy where in the next 90 days, you can look at your life and say, look at God. I'm doing less, but I'm seeing more results. I'm feeling more rested. I'm looking after myself more. I want to open the Rebuild community to you, the VIP community. I know some of you are in the free community, but we also have a VIP community where we get to spend one-on-one time. We have masterclasses monthly. This Thursday, we have a masterclass on storytelling to create an income. And I'm very excited about this. Those of you that are interested in public speaking, those of you that want to attract more public speaking in your life, those of you that know that you have a gift of speaking, you have a gift of storytelling, that you have a story that needs to be heard, this is the masterclass that you want to be on. And I'm excited about what God is doing in this season. And so each and every morning, we're going to be here 7 a.m., and we're going to pour into ourselves. What I want to be doing and what I will be doing again is that after this week, you're going to also hear some of those inside the community that are going to be running these schools. For the last 3 months, we've had those in the community running these sessions. This is going to give you a chance to public speak. This is going to give you a chance to promote what you're doing. The same way I'm on here and I'm sharing about the Rebuild community, those that come on and do these 20-minute sessions are able to share their, their product, their service. The Rebuild community is a place where we're creating wealth inside the community. The things that we have, we've now got the affiliation links where now whatever you do inside the community, you can also earn an income from. We're rebuilding this thing brick by brick. And I'm telling you now, what God is doing is just transformational. Nobody should be connected to me, connected to the rebuild. The rebuild where Nehemiah is the foundation, gathering persons together, putting them on the right gates for them to fulfill success and create an outcome. No one should be connected here without seeing transformation in their family, transformation in their routine, transformation in their health, transformation in success, transformation in their money. Should be impossible unless you're disobedient. And I want to charge you to search your heart and say, where am I hanging out? And if 97 a month is too much for you, I want to ask you this question, and I want to ask you to really search and ask yourself, are you not worth 97 a month? Where do you go and get poured into? Where do you go to focus on yourself? Everything else, you go for everything else. But where do you go to be able to be poured into you? And if you say that 97 is a bit much for you right now, and you're in between your millions, we're not saying it's expensive. We're just saying you have a cash flow problem. If you have a cash flow problem, this is why you need this community. I want to help you to be able to change that too. So the Rebuild community is available for you. And even whilst you're in between your millions, I want to encourage you to keep coming here. Keep coming here 7 a.m. Keep coming here and hearing. I'm going to be dropping the 7 a.m. calls, same link, same time for this week. And then next week, you're going to hear some of the powerhouses in the community that are coming through that are going to be sharing their testimony too, sharing their stuff. You're going to hear the likes of Marsha B. You're going to hear the likes of Nicole. You're going to hear the likes of Adina. You're going to hear the likes of some of the ones that I've been mentoring that you are going to hear and say, wow, look how far they've come. Look how far they've come, implementing some of the tools and techniques that we have been putting into place. Adina just had, I think it's 5 million views on one of her reels, and the following and everything has gone up. But here's what I want to encourage you about. You have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. Danielle just got baptized last week. These testimonials are not normal in which we are talking about here. These testimonials are not like your average community. And I know there's different communities out here, and I'm not pulling anyone down, but we ain't just focused on the money. We actually care about you. We actually care about your soul. We actually care about your spirit. Money is going to be a byproduct of your spirit man changing, of your routine changing, of the way you love yourself and your family changing. And it all starts with a decision to say yes. So I want to encourage you right now, if you haven't already joined the Rebuild community, to go ahead and do that. But in summary, it's time to prioritize yourself. Am I doing it for the right reasons? Who's holding me accountable to make sure I stay on track? And I'm not just doing it for the money. I'm not just doing it for the recognition. I'm not just doing it for the highlight, but I'm doing it because it's part of my purpose. God bless you. I want to unleash you into having an absolutely incredible day. And I want to let you know that you are in the right place at the right time. Keep building. Don't give up. Brick by brick, you're going to get there. God bless you. My name is Nikki Sutherland. If you're not following me on the Instagram, go ahead and type I am Nikki Sutherland on Instagram, and I will see you on the other side. Same place tomorrow, same link, God willing. Take care. God bless.